Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You are here with Austin from Ohio, and today is Saturday, August 13th, 2022. Well, if this is my recording app, these are the testing videos that I did to test that it would record audio. All these ones here, right? All these, some of them don't work, some of them do work. I really sincerely hope that you are hearing my voice right now, or I'm going to be very upset, because this is the third time that I have made this particular video that we're making here today. This was the second time, this 56 minute and 22 seconds. And the first time, oh, where's it at? Oh, it must have went, it only holds so much on here. These are all tests. But the first one was like 59 minutes or something. It's the one that's still up on YouTube. So I'm really hoping that you guys are hearing this. But to be safe, I'm not going to pause and go over to the page. I'm just going to skip pages like this. Okay, well, my preamble that I had for the past 2 times that I've done this. First thing, I apologize for my absence the past few weeks. There are a couple reasons why. One reason is the fact that this stuff stresses you out. Just looking into it in general and making videos about it, I don't know, really, I can't explain it. I've heard people before that make videos and they say, oh, this is stressful, it really gets to you, and I didn't understand it at the time, because I also, read about stuff before I started making videos and all of this, and it stressed me out, but not to the point to where it is now, just thinking about this stuff. I think it has to do with the fact that people now rely on me for information, which I appreciate, but what comes with that is a sense of you don't want to disappoint. And I hope I'm not. But it's actually funny, because the first time when I first started having trouble with this app was like 5 days ago. I was like 10 minutes into a video and the recording app just crashed and I couldn't get it back. And I was really confused. My video was gone, the whole 9 yards. So I had to delete it, re-download it, an updated version, and that is when the sound problems started. A couple nights ago, whenever I made a whole hour-long video and it didn't have any sound. Then I did it again last night, didn't have any sound. But all the testing videos that I've had and made, they did have sound. So I was very, very confused about that. Don't know what it could be, but I bet if I made videos about something stupid, like Kardashians or something, I guarantee the sound would be perfect. And it would go up in a heartbeat, and it would never get taken down. But I feel like it's the nature of what we're doing here. And I really hope the sound's working on this one. I really do. I'm going to be so upset if it's not. Anyway, let's get started on this first one. You guys are going to love this. We are in a dangerous time right now, because you have the United Nations openly declaring war on, quote, dangerous conspiracy theories. The world is not secretly manipulated by a global elite, as they show you a picture in the background of said global elite. If somebody made a video or started claiming that I am a bank robber, I'm not going to get upset. I'm not going to put out pieces like this to try to deflect away from that. No, I'm not going to do that at all. Everything seems to be working fine. But you know why? It's because I'm not a bank robber. But I'll just pay it no mind. But if somebody came out and said something true about me that I didn't want people to know, yeah, I'm gonna deflect and try to try to combat it. What's this car doing here? Oh, I think it's the food delivery guy. Anyway, if someone started claiming something about me that was true and I didn't want people to know, I would come out with pieces like this and try to deflect away from that and try to get people to not believe it. Deny, 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 right? That's exactly what's going on here. Where do you get a load of this? If you're hearing my voice, of course. I might just be wasting my time right now, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to continue just in case it is recording sound. I wish there was a way that I could check. The United Nations has declared war on conspiracy theories, describing the rise of conspiracy thinking as, quote, worrying and dangerous, and providing the public with a toolkit to pre-bunk and debunk anybody who dares suggest that the world governments are anything but completely honest, upstanding, and transparent. The UN also warns that George Soros, the Rothschilds, and the State of Israel must not be linked to any alleged conspiracies. Well, way to tell us who some of the players are right there in that one line. UNESCO has teamed up with Twitter, the European Commission, and the World Jewish Congress to launch the campaign dubbed Think Before Sharing, to stop the spread of conspiracy theories. And that's the thing. If none of this is true and we're all just insane, who's it hurting? Right? The truth doesn't fear anything. The lies fear the truth. The UN wants you to know that events are not secretly manipulated behind the scenes by powerful forces with negative intent. And if you encounter anybody who thinks global elite are conspiring to consolidate power and dictate global events, you must take action. According to UNESCO, if you are certain you have encountered a conspiracy theory on the internet, then you must react immediately. Post a relevant link to a fact-checking website in the comments. And then it says, never mind that the fact that fact-checkers are mostly untrained, unqualified hacks performing fact-checks from the comfort of their bedroom, in between posting far-left political content on personal blogs and getting high. Not sure about that last part. Some probably do, some probably don't. But it just doesn't have to do with like far left or far right, because we already know that any of that is Hegelian dialectic. The fact checkers, they literally just tell you the opposite of what's happening. And I used to have a very good example of that, actually. I wish I would have thought about bringing it up. It was, I think it was PolitiFact, and they were saying that Dianne Feinstein, we all know her, the fact checkers said that she never said that if she had 51 votes in the Senate, then she would have voted to take guns away, quote, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in. And they said she never said that. And then in the same tab, well, the same like group of tabs, I had the video of Dianne Feinstein saying exactly that. She said, if I had 51 votes in the Senate, I would have done it. Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them all in. So, and that's only one that I've found. There are probably so many more. So many more. Get a load of this. Conspiracy theories. What are they? Why do they flourish? Be warned, the C-19 situation has seen a rise in harmful and misleading conspiracy theories. It may be difficult to recognize them or know how best to deal with them. What are they? The belief that events are secretly manipulated behind the scenes by powerful forces with negative intent. Is that not the truth? Is that not what C-19, the Great Reset, is? Agenda 21? Agenda 2030? Internment resettlement operations? Anything that has to do with the United Nations? We broke down the Declaration of Human Rights on this channel, and it is not that at all. And according to this is the European Commission, by the way, conspiracy theories have these 6 things in common. An alleged secret plot, a group of conspirators, evidence that seems to support the conspiracy theory. Isn't that funny? Evidence that seems to support the conspiracy theory. It doesn't seem to support it. It does support the claims that we make. Because this is happening, and they tell you that it's happening. Don't even take our word for it. You don't have to. They openly tell you what they're doing now. Okay, so next is they falsely suggest that nothing happens by accident and that there are no coincidences. Nothing is as it appears and everything is connected. For the most part, that's true. Especially things in the news. Because who controls the news? They divide the world into good or bad. They scapegoat people in groups. Why do they flourish? They offer an explanation of events or situations which are difficult to understand and bring a false sense of control and agency. This need is heightened in times of uncertainty like the C-19 situation. So, apparently, we offer an explanation of events or situations which are difficult to understand. They're not difficult to understand. They're only difficult to understand if you go by what they're trying to instill you to believe. But when you step back and take a look at the whole thing, it all makes sense. It all fits. It all fits perfectly. And that's literally how you have to go about this. Everything can be explained by understanding what is true. How do they take root? Conspiracy theories often start as suspicion. Well, yeah, of course. Everything starts as suspicion. I wonder why this is going on. Let me check it out. They ask who is benefiting. That's one of the first questions you ask, of course, from the event or situation, and thus identify the conspirators. Any evidence is then forced to fit the theory. We don't force anything to fit anything. It fits on its own. It's not like we're sitting here saying like, oh, well, see this has to do with, if you think about it this way and that way, like, no, it's just ironclad. It's plain as day. They tell you, they openly have been saying New World Order forever. Telling you that they're building this world government forever. Okay, let's see. Once they have taken root, conspiracy theories can grow quickly. They are hard to refute because any person who tries is seen as being part of the conspiracy. No, you're not seen as being part of it. You're seen as being fooled by it. You ain't part of it. You ain't in the club. And of course they're hard to refute because you can't. You will lose every time. These people act like we want this stuff to be true. I don't want this to be true. I have little niece and nephew. I have little cousins. I have a family. I don't want my family to have to grow up in this world or live in this world like this. I wish I was wrong. I wish I was just some crazy guy spouting off on YouTube. But that's not what this is, because if that was true, I wouldn't even be doing this. Why do people spread them? There are different reasons. Most believe they are true. Well, they are. Others deliberately want to provoke, manipulate, or target people for political or financial reasons. Beware, they can come from many sources: internet, friends, relatives. That's ridiculous. UNESCO also provide advice for anyone who encounters a real live conspiracy theorist in the flesh. According to the UN agency, you must not under any circumstances be lured into an argument with the conspiracy theorist. Well, yeah, because you might walk away with a different view, an understanding. Any argument may be taken as proof that you are part of the conspiracy and reinforce that belief. And the conspiracy theorist will probably argue hard to defend their beliefs. We don't have to argue hard. We just have to, hey, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Ask this question. And from there, if they're open to it, voila. There you go. Now you're starting to see it. Instead, you must show empathy. Avoid ridiculing them. And if you are a journalist, you must report them to social media and contact your local/national press council or press ombudsman. Please contact the press. Please bring the press to my house. Just let me know ahead of time so I can get ready. I will have everything prepackaged and ready for you to spoon feed it to you like a child. Like, come on. How ridiculous is all of this? Here's another bulletin by the European Commission. And this is what they do. This is literally what they do. They must be getting nervous, or else a piece like this would not exist. Concrete counteractions. Okay. Be warned, C19 situation has seen a rise in harmful and misleading conspiracy theories. It may be difficult to recognize them or know how best to deal with them. If you are certain you have identified a conspiracy theory, react rather than ignore. Here are some concrete ways. Comment with verified information from fact-checking websites. Do not share the post. Who verifies the information? Who fact-checks this? Oh, there I go again. Being a conspiracy theorist. No, that's not even critical thought. That's just normal, everyday wondering. Who verifies the information? Follow that and you'll get your answer. Okay, so that was on social media, on websites and blogs. Contact the author on the web manager with verified information. Ask them to make corrections. Do not share the website or blog post. Again, who verifies the information? And don't tell me, oh, the people at the government, they know what they're doing. Oh, there's the same people that told you that there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Turns out that was a lie. On media outlets, contact the editorial board. Contact your local national press council or press ombudsperson. Do not share the material. Again, please send them to my house. I'll talk to the press. Here's the best part of this entire article. Remarkably hidden in the fine print, UNESCO admit that conspiracy theories do exist. Under the heading, What is a Real Conspiracy? The United Nations bureaucrats explain that real conspiracies, large and small, do exist. According to the UN, it's only a real conspiracy if it's unearthed by the media. So basically, it's only a real conspiracy if we say it is. That's what they're telling us. They are more often centered on single, self-contained events or individual, like an assassination or coup d'etat. They are unearthed by whistleblowers and the media using verifiable facts and evidence. And here's the bulletin. This is exactly what I just read. There's just one problem with the United Nations definition of a real conspiracy theory. The media had been fully bought and paid for by the elite, and it's the elite who are conspiring against the masses. Ask yourself, when was the last time the media unearthed a conspiracy? Also ask yourself, when was the last time the media covered up a conspiracy? This has nothing to do with, oh, the left and the right and this and that. No, this has to do with world government. There's a recording of David Rockefeller. This is just one example. This isn't even what he wrote in his memoirs. This is a recording, and if I could find it, I'll post it after I put this video up, and hopefully it has sound, of course. But he says, quote, "We are grateful to the Washington Post, New York Times, Time magazines, and other great publications whose directors have attended our meetings over the last 40 years. It would have been impossible for us to develop our plan for the world if we have been subject to the bright lights of publicity. But the world is now more sophisticated and prepared to march toward world government," end quote. Yeah, I memorized that. Because that's really all you need. And in his memoirs, he said that some people characterize me and my family as part of a secret cabal working against the best interest of the United States. for a more integrated political and economic structure, one world, if you will. If that's the charge, I stand guilty, and I'm proud of that. What is that? And yeah, I memorized that too. You know why? Because you can't refute that. Who's David Rockefeller? Big banking dynasty head of the Rockefeller, well, they founded the Rockefeller Foundation, Council on Foreign Relations, Trilateral Commission, all of that. Those are the people that make the real decisions. And they pass it down to their puppets who act on behalf of them at the national and local level. And that's the truth, and don't you ever say that it's not, because you would be wrong. Most of these people get their information from the NBC Nightly News or Fox News or Fox and Friends, whatever it is, CNN, don't matter. Even the tabloids, it doesn't matter. You can't just like people try to like argue with me and they'll direct me to a media site. I'll be like, why are you taking me to a middleman? Why don't you take me to the source? Oh, well, no, these people are professionals, and this is their job, and then they know more than you. Well, yeah, well, I'm bringing up documentation, so what do you got? I'm bringing up quotes and books and all of that. What do you got? And what's going on right now, all you need to read is C19, The Great Reset. That's it. You want to go a step further? Read the Fourth Industrial Revolution. I mean, come on. It's not that hard, but this is what they're doing. They're trying to discredit us, and it's working. And the reason they can do this is because of pieces like this. This guy is a disinformation agent. This guy is one of the best disinformation agents. He admits that he has family in the CIA and the FBI and all of that, and he's still allowed to talk. Bill Cooper blew this guy out of the water back when he was still alive. Called him out publicly and everything, and Alex Jones did nothing. Because he wasn't going to go up against Bill Cooper. He's got to talk to his bosses first and see if he can. But these people tell some truth and they tell some lie, and then they put a little bit more truth in there and some more lies. So when the lies are exposed, the truth also seems like a lie. That is a proper disinformation agent. Just like Glenn Beck, just like when he was alive, Rush Limbaugh, just like any of the Cuomos or anybody. And on the other side, Dan Bongino. Who's the other guy? Jordan Peterson. All of these people are disinfo agents. QAnon is a good disinfo agent. That was the reason that this community was decimated, along with the Trump presidency. That was the point of it. Let's go back to, before I start reading this, I'm not going to read the whole thing. It basically is just exactly what it says here. That's what the article says. Let's go back to 2015. We'll start there. You can go back before, but more recently, we'll start there. Pope Francis comes to the United States and, before Congress, announces the implementation of Agenda 2030. 17 Sustainable Development Goals that all member nations of the United Nations and others will have to abide by and complete by 2030. At the same time, Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum is talking about the Great Reset and how that goes along with that. But at this point in time, they were concerned with a few things. One, they were concerned with what they were going to do about people figuring out what's going on. Because back in 2015, 2016, people were, I remember, I've been doing this a while. Not making videos, of course. I've only been doing that since January 2021. But I've been reading stuff for a long time. Over a decade. Probably close to, well, I'm 28 now. I would say probably close to 16, 17 years. maybe more. I remember being in elementary school and telling my teachers things about, like, 9/11 or JFK assassination, things like that. So it's been a while. My eyes have been open for a long time. But anyway, so they wanted to figure out what they were going to do with people that were waking up. What's the best thing to do? Turn us against each other and turn the rest of the population against us. What do? They play their Trump card, pun absolutely intended. They put Trump in there. What's this guy do? Comes in like a wrecking ball, literally. Embodies all these different types of people. All these different types of people. Christians, people that love the Constitution, love America, love freedom in general. Not only just that, just more people like that. Now, they all exist in one giant group. And don't be fooled, even though we know what's going on and we know about this, we are in that group. We would be, you know how many times somebody's called me a right-sider, Trump supporter, and then I tell them that that's all Hegelian dialectic, problem, reaction, solution, divide and conquer garbage, and then they don't know what to say and they just quit? It's happened more than 10 times over the past few years. So that is 2015, 2016. So 2017, Trump comes into office. Followed by that, boom, QAnon comes out of nowhere. Huge military psyop. This was broke way back when it started. Huge military psyop in order to make the truth seem like a lie. Because people were figuring it out. But they kind of went mainstream with it because the President of the United States and all this stuff is going on. And what did QAnon do? Said all these people are going to get arrested and it's only the other side and our side's good and don't worry, all these people are going to get busted and everything's going to be well. None of that happened at all whatsoever. These people are still on that line. They're still trying to justify that and they're still trying to believe this. A lot of people became, how do I say it? People that weren't really looking into this stuff before started looking into it then and fell right into the trap. But those of us that were on this before, we knew what this was beforehand, so we took what we needed and left the rest. Because it was a joke. And it was designed in order to combat misinformation. And this was also around the same time that they said they were launching the military on the internet to combat, quote, disinformation. Right? Am I getting it right so far? Okay, then once they did that and they realized that this was probably going to work and our community was turning on each other and people were turning on us and all of this, and they got permission from the other side to go after the other side and all of that went on, they did a pretty good job of mixing the truth with lies and all of that and bringing it out and the whole thing that goes with disinformation. So they needed to find a way to implement these sustainable development goals. So Fauci comes out in 2017 and he is speaking before the NIAIC or whatever it is. And he says that this administration, talking about the Trump administration, he says that they will be faced with a surprise outbreak. This was in 2017. Right? So all of 2017, 2018, in 2019, there was division like we have never seen. People were focusing on the wrong thing. They were, all these different events started happening, and all of this and all of that started going on. We all remember what happened. It was just undoing the fabric of our society. 2019 comes around. Event 201, October 18th, 2019, is when Johns Hopkins University, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Rockefeller Foundation, etc., sat down and planned out and simulated a worldwide, well, to be frank, a worldwide coronavirus situation, complete with simulated news stories, simulated responses, and all of that. But one thing they were concerned most about was how to combat harmful, quote, harmful misinformation and disinformation on the internet. So 2020, this thing goes live, as these events often do. While Trump is still the president, you know, he allowed all this to happen. He was the perfect person for them to put in there to get this stuff going. And it did. And at the same time, they could crush what little resistance there was. Genius move, honestly. Absolute genius. 2020, 2021, what do we get? Mr. Operation Warp Speed, Mr. A monster came and cast this dark spell all over the world, and all of this. But they also have to keep the division going. Fast forward to where we are now, and you got this. A jury finds InfoWars conspiracy theorist Alex Jones should pay $45.2 million in punitive damages to the parents of Sandy Hook shooting victim. This guy knew what he was in for. He knows what his job is. He is a good disinformation agent. And what's messed up is that people, they look at this and they lump people like me in this group. Alex Jones is a complete and utter pawn, is what he is. Of course he tells some truth. Of course he does. That's what you have to do. Again, so when the lies are exposed, the truth seems like a lie. I don't know how better to explain it. And the timeline I just went through, that is only a small fraction. That's only like small milestones. So much more happened in that time period that can back up exactly what I just told you. And if you don't believe me, all you got to do is take a look around. Go outside, talk to people. They've gotten so much accomplished in such a short amount of time because of this. Oh, everything seems to be running all right still. I'm really hoping that I can just... I don't want to pause too many times and switch, so I'll just switch after that. But anyway, so this stuff comes out, and this is all theater. Just like the whole, well, what do they got going on now? The raid at Trump's home, Mar-a-Lago, whatever. Donald Trump was the first one to come out and say that his house got raided or whatever it is. You look this man up on the World Economic Forum and it says Donald Trump, agenda contributor. He goes to all the summits. You can't possibly believe that this guy has your best interest at heart. He is also playing his part. It's not left versus right. It's them versus us. We're not the ones that asked for this. They are the ones that have been forwarding this and wanting this. World government. This is the way to get it. Okay, let's see what I got here. So, yeah, all that disinfo, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Here it is. And then after that raid at whatever, Mar-a-Lago, I don't want this video to get taken down, so I'm trying to mind my P's and Q's just a tad. You get a piece like this, and this is how they're going to justify taking weapons away from American people. Suspect in attempted break-in at FBI Cincinnati office dead after hours-long standoff, police say. Suspect ID'd as Ricky Schiffer, 42, of Columbus, Ohio. An armed man. Of course it's an armed man, right? And guess what he was armed with? Allegedly tried to break into the FBI Cincinnati field office Thursday, was killed by police after an hours-long standoff, officials said. Following a chase and a failed negotiation, the suspect was fatally shot by police after he allegedly raised a gun toward law enforcement officers, as an Ohio State Highway Patrol spokesperson said during a press briefing. The whole time I'm reading this, think about MK Ultra and think about the repealing of the Smith-Mundt Act. The Smith-Mundt Act, it prevented the government from using propaganda on U.S. citizens. And when they repealed it, this bird is very close to me. How weird. And when they repealed it, now they could openly, and with your permission, of course, use propaganda pieces. Okay, the suspect was identified Ricky Schiffer, 42. Multiple law enforcement sources told ABC News. No other information was immediately available. Oh, ABC was also the one that said that that video a couple years ago was a Turkish border town getting fired upon, right? In Syria. Or on the Syrian border. Turned out to be a gun show in Kentucky. And they admitted it. And then they said, oops, my bad. Moving on. Ohio State Highway Patrol started pursuing the suspect shortly after 9:30 a.m. after he allegedly fled from the field office. And of course, authorities are monitoring online threats following FBI's Mar-a-Lago raid. Do you see how this stuff works? Troopers followed the suspect, who was driving a white Ford Crown Victoria, to Clinton County, where shots were fired, according to officials. The suspect, who officials said was armed with a rifle and wearing body armor. Yeah, they have to put that one in there because you're no body armor for you. God help you. You're not allowed to defend yourself against firearms. Anyway, rifle wearing body armor had been contained in a cornfield off Interstate 71 near Wilmington, according to Clinton County Emergency Management. The suspect appeared to have a gunshot wound to his leg, but was mobile, according to a law enforcement source. The suspect was allegedly armed with an AR-15 style rifle, of course, also brandished a nail gun during the alleged break-in attempt at the FBI field office in Cincinnati, according to multiple law enforcement sources. A nail gun. And keep in mind that this is multifaceted, a piece like this. Not only is it about division, but it's also about discrediting and disarming. After attempting to negotiate with the suspect, police started to move and take him into custody. Ohio State Highway Patrol said after the suspect allegedly raised a firearm toward them, law enforcement fired their weapon, striking him at around 3:40 p.m., the agency said. He was pronounced dead at the scene. And we already know his identity. Clinton County Emergency Management alerted around 4:30 p.m. Law enforcement responses ended. A lockdown was in effect with a 1-mile radius of the standoff scene. People were instructed to lock doors and stay inside. Yeah, always. Lock doors and stay inside. Are we safe? Are we safe yet? Big government, big state. Are we safe? That's what people were asking this time. That where I live on the border of 2 different states. I can be in Pennsylvania in 25 minutes, 30 minutes. Cross right through West Virginia. Well, apparently there was a guy that shot his girlfriend in the stomach, and it started in Pennsylvania, and he crossed into West Virginia, and he was coming toward Ohio. Everybody in my area ran in the house, closed the door, and turned all the lights off and hid in there. I was like, are you kidding me? I live my life like regular. All I did was make sure I had one in the chamber in case he showed up at my doorstep. He ended up, I think he ended up committing suicide, I believe. I'd have to go back and take a look. But everybody was asking on social media, on our local news site, oh, are we safe yet? Can we come out? Like, why are you not taking your safety into your own hands? They are not responsible for you. The Supreme Court ruled that police are not there to keep people safe, only to enforce laws. Anyway, the man led police on a chase to Interstate 71 before exiting near Wilmington, Ohio. Okay, so he pulled off, and once pulled off the interstate, gunshots were exchanged between the suspect and police. Remains unclear why they allegedly tried to break into the FBI office, but it comes amid a series of threats following FBI's court-authorized search of former President Donald Trump's Florida residence. You see the point of the Trump presidency? Do you see the point of it now? This is how they're going to do it. This is how they're going to bring America to its knees. And the people that buy into the whole left-right on both sides, they're basically doing it for them. People on the right side, I feel bad for you. You need to pull your head out of your ass. Understand what's actually going on and stop defending this guy. He's just part of a game that they play. Excuse me. Literally, I'm telling you the truth. One, he's a billionaire. You can't become a billionaire unless you're in the club. Two, he was allowed to even run and become president of the United States. You can't do that unless you're in the club. Stop reacting the way they want you to react. That's how they get away with what they're doing. All right, let's actually move on. I really hope this sound's working out on this, guys. All right, I'm sure you guys all know about this one. The IRS seeks armed accountants ready for deadly force. Amazing. Even before Congress and President Joe Biden gave the final okay for the IRS to hire 87,000 more agents and an $80 billion, that's a lot of money, $80 billion package. Tax agency is revealing priority job category that could get first dibs on the huge budget expansion. On its jobs page is a listing of vacancies for special agents to be placed around the country to root out financial fraud. But these are opening for more than just financial experts. They will also be armed. Among the job requirements listed, carry a firearm and be willing to use deadly force if necessary. Special agents who could be placed around the nation and world have an interesting job, according to the IRS description. They are financial analysts and armed officers ready for a shootout. Why would the IRS need their own little army ready to use deadly force? Ask yourself that question. Oh, but you better watch out, because if you go asking questions, you're going to be considered one of those crazy conspiracy theorists. You're just not taking what we say and take it face value and accept it. You're asking questions? How dare you? How dare you? And here's the actual jobs thing. I have it in my gallery, the whole thing that I got from the IRS site, but I'll put that in the community post. I might already have, but if I don't want to pause because I don't want to mess up the recording here in case you are hearing my voice, which I hope you are. But I also don't want you guys to, well, not you guys, I don't mind if you guys, but anybody else, I don't want them like looking in my whole gallery, because there's pictures of my niece and nephew on there, and I don't want people to know what they look like or who they are. You guys, I wouldn't mind, but you know what I'm talking about. Excuse me. SAs are known for their financial investigative expertise in areas such as tax fraud, public corruption, cybercrimes, narcotics, terrorism, and much more. Today's sophisticated schemes demand the analytical ability of financial investigators to trace transactions through complex financial records, said the agency. Once on the trail, they must be willing and able to participate in arrests, execution of search warrants, and other dangerous assignments. Think about that. Just think about it. Pencil pushers. Work a minimum of 50 hours a week. On call 24/7, and they have to look good. All for a salary of whatever. Don't matter. But that's basically it. So the IRS is getting a bunch of new agents that are going to be ready for deadly force. You know what I think it has to do with? Because I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the IRS is part of Homeland Security now. Because Homeland Security is, it's consisting of 27 different agencies, and I'm pretty sure the IRS is one of them. This is why I think isolation and quarantine for rural communities. This is Department of Homeland Security, by the way. The 8-hour instructor-led course is designed to provide the knowledge necessary to begin planning for situations requiring the isolation and quarantine of a large portion of local rural population. The training will provide public and private sector emergency managers, community policymakers, public health, and public safety personnel with general knowledge necessary to begin planning for situations requiring the isolation and quarantine of a large portion of a local rural population. Is it making sense now? A rural community's ability to collectively respond to an emergency requiring isolation and quarantine is not only essential to minimizing negative impacts to the community at risk, but also minimizing long-term negative economic and health effects to the American public as a whole. Register for a class, blah, 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 blah. This is literally the Department of Homeland Security along with a lot of other people. This is what they're getting ready for. Isolation and quarantine of a large portion of rural communities. That means you and me, right? And after isolation, you're going to be either forced off the land or, well, a lot of us won't make it that far. But that's why I think that the IRS and a bunch of other agencies who also coincidentally have been building up billions of rounds of ammo supplies the last 12 years or so, or maybe more. You see what I'm saying? It all fits. There's an explanation for everything backed up by things like this. But when you take the mainstream media or any of like what they want you to accept at face value, there's a lot of unanswered questions, just like the UN thing said. Oh, they're difficult to understand. Not when you're playing with a full deck of cards, pal. Not difficult to understand then. We know what the hell's going on. We know because they tell us. All right, let's keep going. This is fun. Okay, this one. This is a mainstream newspaper. Mainstream. This is one of those examples of them admitting what they're doing. International Simulation in 2021 predicted current monkeypox outbreak. The simulation's imaginary launch date was May 15, 2022, the same week that marked the real-world start of the first international outbreak of the viral disease. Hello? Anybody home? Are you awake? Get your ass up and get a cup of coffee. We got work to do. They've got to be monkeying around. Of course, they have to desensitize people with a lighthearted joke. So the information they're about to read, they're going to be more willing to accept. Right? Am I getting warm yet? An eerily accurate simulation exercise at the Munich Security Conference in March 2021 centered on a monkeypox outbreak and had the rare and potentially deadly hypothetical disease starting exactly when the real one did. Starting exactly when the real one did. What do you think that tells you? Oh, they sat down and planned this thing out last year and implemented it this year. That's the only answer. That's the only answer. That's the correct answer. The Nuclear Threat Initiative, a non-profit founded by U.S. media mogul Ted Turner and former Democratic Senator Sam Nunn. Time out, Ted Turner. He's the guy that said that he wants the United Nations to be the world's police force. And said we got too many people. Using too much stuff, he says. If we had less people, they'd be using less stuff. Literally what he said verbatim. On Fox News with Piers Morgan. Not even joking. You can look it up and you can find that interview. And he also said that he's glad that soldiers were dying overseas. In that same interview. So I don't want to hear it. Okay, so gathered a panel of 19 experts, experts said, including government officials from the U.S. and China, Representatives from the World Health Organization, UN, researchers from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and major pharma companies to game out responses to a 12 monkeys-like bioterror attack. So the same players that were involved in Event 201, give or take, minus or plus a few. The fictional scenario, sponsored by Facebook co-founder Dustin Moskovitz and his Open Philanthropies nonprofit hinged on the secret release of a lab-enhanced monkeypox virus that eventually killed 271 million people in a worldwide 19-month situation. So Facebook's involved. You know, Facebook, as in we're gonna suppress the truth on the internet, right? The simulation imaginary launch date was May 15, 2022, the same week that marked the real-world start of the first international outbreak of the viral disease, more than a year after a globalist group met. The NTI caught to the strange coincidence on Tuesday. So again, they're admitting this, guys. They admitted to it. This is a mainstream publication. Again, this is one of those examples of they're admitting it to you, what they're doing. How can you be so naive? Quote, some social media activity has included this information about our exercise. The group complained on its website after posting about the weirdly prescient planning session trended on the Chinese chat site Weibo. Quote, the key takeaway from our exercise is not the specific pathogen in our fictional scenario. It's the fact that the world is woefully unprepared to guard against future situations, the statement added. Sounds like Billy Gates himself wrote that. And this is one of those things where they're just like, oh, it's not about the specific pathogen. Actually, it is, and it's about you. In your simulation, you said that it was going to start the middle week of May, the week of the 15th, and it started then in real life. Anybody with a brain, or you don't even have to have a brain, a child can say, wow, so they planned this out and executed that plan later on. But critics of the government response to the C-19 situation expressed doubt and mockery. There's never been a global monkeypox outbreak outside of Africa until now, in the exact week of the exact month predicted by the biosecurity folks in their pandemic simulation. Oops, I said the word. Wrote attorney Michael Sanger of the anti-lockdown Brownstone Institute. Take these guys to Vegas. And of course, this is a mainstream publication, by the way. Just keep that in mind. In 2019, a similarly coincidental tabletop exercise hosted by Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security, along with the World Economic Forum and Gates Foundation, conjured up a devastating coronavirus situation just months before the real one began. Weren't we getting laughed at for saying this last year or 2 years ago? Weren't people laughing at us and saying that we're crazy conspiracy theorists? This is a mainstream publication, a mainstream article. And it's funny that Knights Templar are right there, but we'll save that for another day. Like, come on. Come on. The regular people in my community, you know about this. Everything I'm saying, you already know. I'm getting so heated and passionate about this for the people that stumble upon this video. You need to understand where we are at this point in time. There's no time for games. There's no time to buy into whatever string they got you on, believing whatever they got you believing. Read everything. Believe nothing until you can prove it to yourself using your own research and your own ability to think and to decipher information. It's called discernment. I don't get it. I really don't get it. 54 minutes in. Don't forget about this. I brought this up not long ago, and a couple other people did too. This is the 4th annual AI World Government, October 6th and 7th, 2022, in person and virtual in Washington, D.C. I'm not going to go through here and read all of this, but what I wanted to show you, obviously, the title of it, Artificial Intelligence or Artificially Intelligent World Government. So right there is, there's your proof. But let's go down. I will link this for you guys so you can go through here. But these are the past sponsors, right? 2022 featured speakers, Faces of Innovation. This guy, Equal Opportunity Commission, AI ethics guy, CEO, NASA, that's weird. Carnegie Mellon University, Department of Health and Human Services, which is, I believe, under DHS. I'm not sure, but I think they are. Federal Highway Administration. Isn't that weird? Why the Highway Administration? Stimson Center, Dun & Bradstreet, Internal Revenue Service. Hello. Hello. This person, this person, this person. Here's where it gets good. Participating government agencies. U.S. Department of Homeland Security, of course. The Internal Revenue Service. Social Security Administration. Department of Defense. Department of Education. Department of Energy, of course. Department of Health and Human Services. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Department of Justice. Department of State. Department of Treasury. NASA. Federal Aviation Administration. United States Nuclear Regulatory Commission. National Transportation Safety Board. National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. United States Patent and Trademark Office. United States Government Accountability Office. Yeah, how's that working out? Why does that office even exist? United States Army. United States Navy. United States Air Force. United States Marine Corps. Department of Veterans Affairs. Defense Information Systems Agency. The Census Bureau. United States Postal Service. General Services Administration. Commodity Futures Trading Commission. World Bank. United Nations. FDA, Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research. FDA, Center for Drug Evaluation and Research. FDA, Center for Devices and Radiological Health. FDA, Center for Food Safety and Applied Nutrition. The CDC and the National Institutes of Health. What do you think they're going to be discussing? That they have every single government agency, literally. All the important ones anyway. You know why they have all these and they're getting ready for this? Let's see. They prepared for it, actually, under National Defense Resources Preparedness. It was passed in 2014. I think it's the one that, and all the executive orders that go with it, it's the one that gives the government control over all highways, waterways, air travel, cars, boats, food, agriculture, housing, everything. Everything. And this is about, look at this, human-centered AI. AI and sustainability, so it has to do with Agenda 2030. These are the dots that we should be connecting. You're not a conspiracy theorist. You're somebody concerned that all this is going on. And you can click on each one of these, I'm pretty sure. And you can go and read through these. I mean, come on. Connect with AI government. Yeah. And you can explore the agenda, and you can go and you can go all the way through here. And you can read all of this. This is huge. I'm telling you guys. We're not even knee deep anymore. We're gasping for air. We're trying to get back up to the surface. Let me see if I got one more for you guys, because I might just be talking out of my ass, because I don't even know if there's going to be sound on this. But basically, we knew about this one for a while. The study finds that taking the blood of the youth could make the old stay young. We were also laughed at for this one. The vampire-like findings could play a role in ongoing medical attempts to prolong or delay the aging process. Only somebody terrified of life after death, or what's on the other side, or what awaits them when they get there, would come up with something like this. Please don't crash my recording app. New research has found that the blood of the young could help play a role in rejuvenating aging muscle, and in fact, keeping the body stay young. The new study, published on Monday in the respected scientific journal Nature Aging, found that particles in mouse blood called extracellular vesicles, or EVs, deliver genetic instructions for the longevity protein called klotho to muscle cells. The researchers found that while mice age with their muscle functions weakening, cognition declining, and ability to repair muscles slowing down, the EVs also become weaker. When the older mice were transfused with the blood of younger mice, their cells and tissues took on more youthful features, including the ability to regenerate muscle. However, these effects faded when the EVs were removed from the blood. The findings could help advance our understanding as to why the ability of our muscles to regenerate diminishes with age. It could also play a role in ongoing medical attempts to prolong or delay the aging process for humans. We're really excited about this research for a couple of reasons, said the study's senior author, Fabrizia Ambrosio, an associate professor of physical medicine and rehabilitation at the University of Pittsburgh. That's right up the road from me. If I left right now, I could be, it's 8:40, we'll say 8:45. If I left right now, I could be in Pittsburgh by 9:30. In one way, it helps understand the basic biology of how muscle regeneration works and how it fails to work as we age. Then, taking that information to the next step, we can think about using extracellular vesicles as therapeutics to counteract these age-related defects.